All right, y'all. Welcome to Never Chalked, the podcast from TGE. I'm your host, Pescaro DB, joined by my fellow creators, Volts and 50 Cal. Before we get things started, I just wanted to give a quick shout out to Hydra from NYSL. He took home the 2023 Esports Controller Player of the Year award at the Esports Awards. What do you think about that? Well deserved, or is there someone else that maybe could have got it? How did you feel about that?
I think it was absolutely well deserved. When I saw that we were going to be talking about this, I actually just took it upon myself to kind of look up a little bit of his stats, just because I wanted to see, just wanted to make sure he was well deserving of it. And some of the things that popped out to me was he had an 89-47 Slayer rating on Breaking Point, which I don't know entirely what all goes into the Slayer rating aspect on there. But it was the highest out of every single player. And then on LAN, he had a 90.08. And then there were some other things like his overall KD, his hardpoint KD. They were really good, but even better on LAN. So time and time again, Hydra was showing, like, not only was he just a great player overall, but when it mattered most was when he was really popping off. So to me, it was well deserved. Hydra had an amazing year.
Yeah, and I mean, you can't take away from the fact that NYSL in general, obviously a big part of that being because of him. I mean, they won 3 out of 6 events, including champs. So it was a very dominant year, 2023, or the MW2 season. So I just wanted to make sure we gave a quick shout out to him. Jaden, I don't know if you had anything you wanted to touch on before we dive into the actual meat of this episode, if you will.
I'll kind of just speak on it real quick. I think Hydra was completely deserving of that. That man destroyed everyone all year long. I mean, he was playing on a chip on his shoulder whenever everything went down with Crim 6 and the whole NYSL thing. So I'm happy that he got it. It's very, very well deserved, especially how him, Kismet, and Skies were playing on the map.
Yeah, I mean, I think the last thing I want to say about this is just it's been really impressive how much he has stepped up. Like, he had the in-game skill, that was never a question, but how much he stepped up in terms of just his comms and leadership and all that, because he's been the longest tenured guy on that NYSL roster of the people that are on it right now. So, I mean, it's just been really cool to see a foreign player from France. He's learning a new language while trying to compete at the highest level. It's very typical. Yeah. So shout out to him for winning that. But this week specifically, we're going to be diving into the Season 1 updates that are about to be implemented into the game on December 6th. That'll be Wednesday of this week. We're going to be talking about the competitive meta in general, the weapons, and some of the other stuff that go along with that. And then there was some GA drama that went down on the timeline. So a lot, we got a lot to cover here. But first things first, we're going to start with the newly named segment called Update Requires Restart. I mean, I thought that was a banger name personally.
Yeah.
We all know what it means, and in this case, it's, we're just updating on what we saw or what we got coming up this week. So in this case, some upcoming changes to Modern Warfare 3, and this is just for the game in general, not necessarily CDL. There will be some CDL-related stuff. We did find out that Ranked Play is confirmed to be coming not with the Season 1 update, but with the Season 1 Reloaded update, which is supposed to drop, I believe, early January. We got told that there's going to be 3 new maps added to the game, one of those actually being called Meat, which I think is awesome personally. And then I can't remember what the other 2 were. I think there was like a Greece map.
We're looking
and
at
like
Greece and Training Facility and Rio.
That's right. Yeah. So 3 new maps, and then Gunfight is being brought back. We're getting some new weapons as well that we'll talk about a little later. But what were your initial thoughts on the amount of content that we're getting with this Season 1 update? And I mean, it's obviously not just for multiplayer. We're getting a bunch of stuff for Warzone and for Modern Warfare Zombies, which has done surprisingly a lot better than I expected it to, or at least has been received a lot better than I expected. So, what have been some of your initial thoughts there? Volts, we'll start with you.
No, can you actually start with 50
Yeah.
I'm interested to see what he says.
50, we'll start with you, my guy.
Why are you so interested to see what I say?
Because you're the most handsome man on the show, obviously.
Oh,
Absolutely.
you're making me blush, dude. Don't do that. I think Rank Play coming in and Reloaded is great. I wish that it would drop with the Season 1 update because I know for a fact that everyone's itching to play it. I think that new maps are great. Yes, I really enjoy the Modern Warfare 2 original maps. I adore it because it's so nostalgic. But adding some new flavors in there kind of would probably do the game for the better. I'm so happy to see Gunfight coming back, of course, because Lord knows I played so much of that in Modern Warfare 2019. We ran tourneys together and all that kind of stuff. So I'm really happy to see that. I'm interested to see how Headquarters plays. Because it's such a staple in like COD 4 whenever it first came out that you didn't have Hardpoint, you had Headquarters. So last one alive, if you have the point captured, guess what? You're fighting against 24 other dudes. Good luck.
Yeah, I mean, exactly. I think overall is going to be... It's a lot of content. I'll give them that. It's the most content we've gotten a Season 1 update since, I think, Cold War.
Yeah.
Some of these other games, it's been pretty lackluster. I agree 100%. Like, with the CDL season starting Friday of this week and the Season 1 update being Wednesday, like... It would have been great to get that ranked play implemented along with the Season 1 update, but at least it's coming earlier than previous years, so I guess I'll give them a pass in that aspect.
One more thing I'd like to add. Swarm is coming back, dude.
Yes,
if
that's
you
right.
played
Swarm
Black
and
Ops
EMP.
2, dude, you hear enemy swarm inbound, everyone on the map that's not on your team is instantly terrified. Because there's, you just don't run outside. And also, the holiday event. Love holiday events? Please don't bring back Krampus. For the love of God, don't bring back Krampus. I'm looking at that, and all I see is Krampus.
No, so they already said it's not Krampus, but it's called, it's some sort of, zombified Santa.
Great.
I don't know what exactly the name of it is.
Can't wait for him to be unkillable.
But it's not Krampus, but it might be something similar. But Volts, what are you most looking forward to in the Season 1 update? And just, do you think there's anything maybe that you wish you would have seen with this update, or just any praise you want to give in general for it?
Well, I feel like you worded that question because you want me to speak on my thoughts. We actually texted about this earlier. I am very upset that, honestly, I think ranked play needs to come at launch. Like
you're in the same boat
honestly.
as my brother. He literally every year he's like, "Is there gonna be a ranked mode at launch?" And I'm like, "No, they never do that." And then he's like, "This is stupid," and I'm like, "Well, that's just how it is."
Yeah. Well, okay. So let's just say at launch is just a little unrealistic. What I told you today, and I firmly believe in this, is that ranked play should at the very least be launched by the time the CDL season starts. Or
I can agree with that.
Season starts. So whenever that is, in this case, it is December 8th is when CDL season begins. I think, so here's our Season 1 update. It should be rolling out.
It would have been perfect timing, yeah.
Perfect timing. You would have people started playing competitive. They take a little break because they're watching CDL matches, and they get right back on the competitive because they're motivated now. You just got your first week of CDL matches. They're motivated to go play that game now.
Yeah.
With it not being out, man, I mean, it's just you've got a couple things there, multiplayer, zombies, right? And it's like, all that's fun. It's great, but it's starting to become redundant. We've been playing it now for what, month and a half or whatever, however long it's been.
Yeah, and I mean, I was gonna say, so I mean, they're probably banking, I get what you're saying with multiplayer and zombies being redundant. We've had it for a month. They are technically bringing Warzone in. I guess you could say Warzone 3, but it's just called Warzone again because they called it Warzone 2, and then they were like, nah, we're chalking that. So,
just bring back Blackout.
Again. Yeah, I don't know, but I mean, we are getting Warzone and the new map and content in that aspect for people that enjoy that mode. So
I will say that When ranked finally gets out, I'm very excited for it. I always am. I'm a competitive player. I love to play. And one of the other things that I wrote down was just new maps are great. I think it's needed, kind of like what Jaden said. MW2 maps are perfect. It's nostalgia. It's, bringing me back when I was, when that game came out. 2009. I was like 14 years old. So, it brings back good vibes that way. But, new maps are awesome, and I'm hoping, we can get more traditional, like, 3-lane maps that are new. I think that would be a lot of fun. And then I just think, as far as, like, CDL format goes, we already have a pretty good map pool in terms of, like, the sheer number of maps that they're able to play on. So introducing new maps, and hopefully there's some competitive that can be added into it. It would be nice to see more than kind of, like, the same 5 maps played over and over again.
Yeah, and I mean, we do have a precedent, even just going back to last season when they added Expo into the control rotation and took out Fortress. So we have seen a willingness to add maps that are added post-launch into the competitive map pool. It'd be interesting to see if any of these 3 regular-sized maps are implemented. Because obviously the season starts 2 days after the update, so it might take a few weeks, but I think it could happen. And now for our final part here of the update requires restart segment, I want to do once again, this will be the last time that it's paper format, because we'll actually have a season to discuss. But this is going to be our second and final TGE Paper Champs and Chumps Challengers edition, because we had to skip over that segment last week because we went a little long. So this time we're looking at Challengers teams, and I'm wanting to hear from y'all the best and or worst looking Challengers rosters headed into MW3. Jaden or Volts, someone hit me with it.
Chandler, you go first, or Volts, you go first.
Man, I'm gonna be honest, dude. I haven't found much of anything on, like, Challengers rosters.
Yeah, and I figured it was going to be a little difficult because, let's be real here, the league has not given much updates or support for Challengers. And a lot of this stuff, I'm going to use this opportunity right here to say shout out to the rotation. The guy that runs that, I mean, the amount of work that he puts in to give the Challenger scene exposure and stuff to play for at a time where right now there literally has been 0 updates on Challengers for this year. I just want to say shout out to him. So something I want to point out, he did in partnership with COD Agent. He held like some sort of tournament with I think there was NA squads for one of them, and then there was EU. Like, it was 2 different tournaments, and the squad that won NA champs, or the cup champs, whatever you want to call it, was Exceed, Brack, Asim, and Kremp, which is 4 guys that we saw in the league this past year, all on different teams. And then the European team that won, if I'm not mistaken,
Beans.
Yeah, Beans, Hixie, and Nasty. Yeah. So again, 4 guys that were in the CDL last year. I mean, you literally could take those 2 teams and have 2 more CDL rosters that would actually be pretty competitive.
Yeah.
So I guess I'll reword what I'm asking with this, because I think we can agree that based on the one little bit of competition we've had so far, those teams are disgusting.
Right.
So of those 8 guys, let's say, which of them do you feel will get called up first, if any?
Ooh, that's a tough question. Okay, so I'm gonna throw a little curveball at you. I don't think it's one of those 8 guys, but I'll answer that question. But I don't think it's one of those 8 guys.
Okay.
Out of those 8 guys, if I was to pick which one would get called up first, I would probably have to say Nasty. Yeah.
I think that's an underrated pick, but I think it's the right one.
Yeah, I just because what he's able to bring, I think he was very undervalued for what he brought to London when he played for them. To me, he was always their best player, probably the most consistent player across the board every time they had matches. So I would choose him. But the person that I really think gets called up first is Temp. I'm very surprised he's not on a roster.
Yep.
Yeah, 50. What do you think about that? With
No,
Temp, you know,
Volts literally just stole the words right out of my mouth. I wasn't gonna say any of those 8 guys. As much as I love, as much as I love all those 8 guys, and I think that they deserve a spot in the league. I think the way that Temp has been playing in, 8s and tourneys and everything, that dude is on a different level in this game. And I see somebody not performing the way that they should on an AR role and instantly getting dropped and picked up for 10.
Yeah.
It kind of surprised me that he didn't. I understood it to an extent. He had a lot of struggles last year, especially on LAN. So, I kind of get it. But at the same time, he's now one of the, more veteran players of the scene. So you have to imagine he's got good map knowledge already from these MW2 maps from way back when. That's going to translate into being very knowledgeable on the map in a competitive setting this year. So it did kind of, I definitely think he's one of those people where you're he's going to find a way onto a CDL roster this year.
For sure.
But that's going to do it for the Update Requires Restart segment. Now we are going to move into the second segment of this episode, one that we like to call Are They Chalked? SMG players is who we're discussing for this segment. I want to hear y'all's thoughts from anything that you've watched, scrims, 8s, any 8s that we've played, anything like that.
No.
Are people running a Rival 9 going to be able to compete with ARs in this game?
Screw whatever's happening in Pro 8s right now. I will tell you, as an SMG player, SMGs are chalked. 100%. ARs are blessed this game. I don't care what anybody says. It is insane how OP the MCW is compared to the Rival 9. If this is the meta, you could almost argue a case of just running 4 MCWs. There's almost no point, in my opinion, to run the Rival 9 right now. I don't even know, it's chalked me. It really has. I'm checked, I'm chalked, however you want to say it. When we were playing TGE 8s the other day, and I was having some stun issues. I was having something on my controller, but that's besides the point. I would be shooting people in the back, and they would have enough time turn around and kill me with the MCW, and I was just flabbergasted. I didn't even know what. I was like, what just happened to me? I got world starred. ARs are blessed. I don't care what anybody says.
Yeah, Jaden 50. What do you think about that?
All right, well, Volts, first off, you're doing it wrong, bro. You're supposed to run an MCW, no stock, short barrel, and just start shotgunning people up close range. That's how apparently this meta is supposed to go. Or you just get two bursted by a Renetti across the map. It acts as if it's a slug round. It's insane.
I don't understand that thing, because when I shoot it, I swear my bullets do not register. I hate the Renetti in this game.
The Renetti, dude, up close, the Renetti's a dadgum shotgun, bro.
It might be a me problem.
Bursted I literally was an L on Invasion, and I 180'd a kid just to die in literally 2 rounds. I died a bullet to the head, a bullet to the chest, and I was dead. And I looked at the kill cam, and it's a Renetti, and I don't think I've ever lost my mind that fast in my entire life. I was using a Rival 9. I was 5 feet away from the kid.
Well, maybe we get a meta of MCW and Rival 9. I mean, maybe we get MCW and Renetti.
Renetti, bro.
Yeah,
everybody's running Renettis as the sub.
All I'm going to say is, in terms of my personal POV on this, the most recent time that we ran 8s. First match was a terminal hardpoint. I'm running an AR. I go 24 and 14. I'm frying. Everything's great. Every other map that night, I'm running the Rival 9, running an SMG. I couldn't even get 10 kills.
Getting cooked.
I was dropping 6 kills an entire map, and these were matches that were back and forth in the score, like not like dominant wins or losses. Like I just couldn't do shit. I felt
Right, it's not like being
worthless.
hill taken too. It was you were actually trying.
I mean, it was and I
And-
was trying exactly. I wasn't like I wasn't dicking around. I just like it was.
You're just getting shotgunned by an MCW close range.
All I
Yeah,
gotta and what I will say is I've been tinkering around because I feel like it hasn't been done enough. Technically, the SVA is a gun that is not GA'd or banned from the competitive rotation. No one's just no one's using it.
It
But
shoots like
I
an
took it upon
AN-94.
myself. I took it upon myself to make an SMG, like a AK-74U version of it, that with nothing that's banned or GA'd or anything like that. And bro, this thing was frying. And if you look at the stats, they're all way better than the Rival 9. So either I stumbled upon a gem, or I don't know the rules and it's all somehow banned or whatever. But I need to show you guys this eventually. I'll
Yeah,
give the
I know
class to our editor, let y'all try it out, see how it
It's
goes.
just a 2 AR and Renetti meta. That's what it is. 2
I
ARs,
mean, yeah.
1 fast AR SVA, and then an MCW, and then 2 Renettis just sprinting around the map.
I think that's
you know,
best.
and all jokes aside, though, like let's just say the SVA is not GA'd, it's not banned, none of that. Do y'all remember back in Vanguard when Spart pulled out
The Volk.
The
Yeah.
Volk.
Could that be the Volk of MW3?
I mean, but Spart's not in the league to like make that thing look like it's
True.
god tier.
I mean,
It has to be Spart.
Dude,
What I-
Spart
what I-
pulled that thing out and like MVP'd the entire
it really
event.
was just him. Yeah, he did MVP the event. They're not,
I know,
he's not
but
wrong.
okay, but just pick a player in the league who you think would be the Spart of MW3.
Celium.
Sell
Look, all I know is like, and you guys are gonna call me crazy, but the difference with that was the Volk. He was still using it like an AR. Like he was just
Yeah.
using it in place of the automaton or however you say it.
Yeah.
The SVA class that I use, I mean, I'm talking. This thing is no stock. Like this is like a
You were running around with a
AK-74U build.
nubby AK-74, bro.
And this thing bangs. I've never felt prouder of myself. But anyways,
That's
so another
amazing.
thing I want to discuss here. So one of the unfortunate things that we learned with the rule set for this upcoming season is snipers are GA'd. We will not have any snipers in S&D. Or we never have it in respawns, but we're not going to have it in S&D this year. Do you guys think that competitive COD is better when snipers are allowed or when they're not? I don't care who goes first. Someone hit me with it.
I think it's way better, when snipers are allowed. Case in point, go back to Black Ops 4 when Simp decided to just become a human aimbot with, the Paladin. That, like, the caster's reaction, the crowd's reaction, like, nasty clips like that in a CDL league, absolutely phenomenal. I think they would bring so much hype around it. I hate that they don't play with snipers.
Yeah, what about you, Chandler?
No, I 100% agree with Jaden. It's absolutely needed in the league. I mean, it's just more fun when you have a sniper. I remember going to my first event and it was Vanguard I think it was the Kickoff Classic in Vanguard.
Mm-hmm.
And it was I can't remember who it was. I want to say it was Clayster that had a sniper out, and I think it was when Subliners were playing Boston, if I'm remembering correctly. And
That sounds right. I think you're actually right about that.
yeah, and then he got, you got the crowd just like going, oh, like, because they know you're about to get the snipe, and when you finally get it, the crowd just goes nuts, man. Snipers are just, it's way more fun and more exciting, and it kind of gets you on the edge of your seat if you're like, oh, is he about to get a sniper shot? Is he about to get a sniper kill? Is he about, it's needed, man. I'm just going to leave it at that. It's needed.
Yeah, I mean, the last thing I'll add to that, because I agree, like, I have the same opinion, but when you get to see players like Dashy and, like, some of these other guys that are just, like, cracked on the AR, and you get to see them, like, play a little slowed down, but they're hitting these nasty clips with snipers, I mean, I think it just adds to the excitement, and you only ever have one per team anyway, so it's not like it's like OP.
Yeah.
I think it adds just another element of like randomness or not randomness, but like it just gives you something different than the typical 2-gun meta. So I think it's unfortunate that we're not going to have it, but I guess we'll see how the game plays, and then we'll know if it was a good decision or not. Last thing from this segment before we get into the final segment. So some DLC weapons are obviously coming with the Season 1 update. One of the ones I want to talk about specifically, because we've seen it before, is the Ram 7. It's basically the MTAR, I guess. It was in MW19 also, I think, as a DLC weapon. Do you think if the MCW and Rival 9 meta is just not working out, that they would potentially allow DLC weapons? Because every other AR, except for the SVA, is G8 or banned. So do you think they would potentially consider adding the Ram 7 if it made sense?
Man, I doubt it. Like, in my notes, I just put that it doesn't really seem like these group of players are very open to change. Like, once things are kind of set, they it's just that's just how they like it. Like, I remember, when was it? It was Cold War, and they had the XM4 and the Krig,
Yep.
and then they just GA'd the. So you had 3 guns. It was basically 3 guns that were being used.
Yep.
And
With the
then
740
they
is SMG.
Yeah, and then they GA'd the XM4, and then it was just 2-gun meta. I just think once they decide, that's just kind of how they are. It just doesn't really seem like they're open to change. I mean, throwing it back to Vanguard when Spark pulled out the Volt, literally right after the event, what happened? They GA'd it.
I mean,
So
he earned himself a good contract off of that, so...
He did. So it's just, like, to me, it's like once they have things kind of like set in stone, or it's like, all right, it's these 2, maybe 3 weapons, they stick at that, and I don't think they're like really open to bringing it in. And I don't entirely know the reason why. I have my theory, and my theory is that they don't want to have to learn a new weapon, recoil pattern, whatever it may be, how to use it, whatnot, experimenting with the attachments or whatever. Maybe that's probably the reason why, but I don't know for certain. But I really doubt that they would bring any other weapon in, especially DLC weapons.
Yeah, and Jaden, do you have a different opinion, or do you feel pretty much the same about that?
I mean, from the AR perspective, I know for a fact, no one's going to want the Ram 7 in there because, number one, it's probably not even going to compete with the MCW shotgun that is in the game currently. Mm-hmm. However, this sub, if it is not like a pea shooter, and it actually
and that's the thing is I put the name of it. It's the HRM9.
Yeah.
But I don't know anything about it other than that and like the picture we got. So we would have to see it in action.
Yeah, I would have to see it in action. I think that if it does better than the Rival 9, it has better consistency. I could maybe see them maybe letting that in. Maybe to give like a little bit of a level playing field between ARs and subs. But I know for a fact that no AR player is going to be like, "Oh yeah, let's give the subs an even playing field." No, I'm just gonna shotgun you up close. So
right,
yeah, we potentially
and it's not
could
like
see
the
that,
MCW is a problem.
Yeah, we could
They're
potentially
not looking
see that
to
come in, but I mean, it's really up to how it plays.
Yeah, for sure. Well, now we're gonna move into the final segment, my personal favorite. X gonna give it to you. Going into all the I'm still calling it Twitter, even though the segment we do call it X, but you get the point.
It's Twitter.
Going into this, yeah, it's Twitter. I think we can all agree. Comment if you think it should be called X or Twitter. I guess that's a good thing to put in the comments. But going through the most recent drama on Twitter, we finally saw another example where bullying, I guess, in a sense, worked in a positive way. I know that sounds weird, but hear me out. A lot of people, yeah, no, it's not. Hold up.
Not in school.
Not in school, but when it comes to decisions with the Call of Duty League and whether to GA stuff or not, there was a lot of tweets going out from different players, Slasher, Parasite, some of the like veteran players, and even some of the newer ones, just like, oh, we need a GA this, we need a GA that, but no one was actually like initiating anything. And then Zuma just tweeted out and basically was like, well, why don't you just fucking like initiate a vote, basically? And then Slasher's like, all right, bet. Slasher World League, here we go. And with that, they publicly voted on Twitter to GA snaking, sound EQ, snipers, which we already talked about, and auto tack sprint or single tap tack sprint. So my first question to y'all, like, yes or no, do you like those GAs? But also, do you think there should be more public clarity on GAs and future votes in this sense, or do you think it needs to be kept private in like a GM or what, however they already do it?
So as far as like what they banned and GA'd, or however you want to say it, I'm okay with all of them outside of snipers. We kind of just talked about that.
I think we gave our opinion on that one.
Yeah, so that's fine. Sound EQ, couldn't care less. I've tried it out before. I don't even really like it, if I'm being honest. So I never use that anyways. Snaking, man, I know we're going to kind of talk about this in a little bit, but that one's going to be tough. Auto tech sprint, I think they GA that every year or two, so not. Yeah,
that one's really pretty. Matter. That's a pretty standard one, I feel like.
Yeah. Snaking, man, that's tough. Anyways, Jaden, go ahead.
I personally, besides the sniper thing, I agree with the GAs. The auto tack sprint is literally an every year thing. However, sound EQ, I'm okay with that, and I'm okay with snaking. But here's my little tidbit on sound EQ and snaking. I tried sound EQ. I'm pretty sure I have tinnitus now because the amount of boost that gives you is absurd, bro. I can hear someone fart in mid-map, and I'm back apartments on Skid Row, and I know that dude's there. But I can't hear anymore after that because it's so loud. The snaking GA, I'm okay with that because I'm 28. I'm old. I have arthritis in my hands. I don't want to go against little Timmy that's snorting G Fuel off his fingers at 3 a.m. in the morning, freaking spamming, laying down and everything. I'm not trying to play whack-a-mole. I'm trying to play COD. So just shoot me.
And I mean, we saw, like, whenever there was, like, those, like, when we were watching the broadcast last year, and it wasn't, like, one player's POV, it was more, like, the map, and you could see all the players. And whenever they're snaking, and they're literally just freaking going up and down, you're like, this is so stupid. It just looks stupid. You're almost, like, second-hand embarrassment.
I'm at an arcade playing whack-a-mole, dude. Like,
exactly.
That is really the way to put
it. Yeah, that really is the way to put it. It does look like whack-a-mole. So, we're going to talk a little more about the snaking thing. Sound EQ, I mean, GA, I think it's a good thing. I don't know how you really enforce it since it's a PC setting and not an in-game setting. But, I mean, you do have the covert sneakers this year anyways to, like, counteract.
I promise
it doesn't?
You. No, it does not matter.
Wow.
Dude,
okay, so hopefully they stick to it.
So, little clip here, right? I was playing Skid Row, and mid stairs and L stairs from Tunnel. I was sitting in the corner, and I could literally hear the jingle of the characters running through Tunnel as if they were inside my ears. It's insane. Like, we'll know who uses it because they're gonna go deaf by the age of 27.
Yeah, that's crazy. Well, so now I want to ask you guys, do you think, like, Zuma or the Flank, like, facilitating something like this where they hold these public votes on Twitter to determine rules and gentlemen's agreements or GAs for the CDL, do you think that was just kind of like a one-off thing, or do you think maybe we'll see more of these moving forward, almost as like they're acting like a third-party, like, non-biased, like, I don't even know how to describe it, like an NCAA, I guess, if you will, where, like, they're helping to moderate whether we have these rule changes or not?
Go ahead, Jade. I mean, I can speak from, like, a viewer standpoint. It gives, like, kind of a behind-the-scenes look on, like, the voting system and what things are being voted on. I can sort of speak from like an upcoming COD player, you want to know what things are getting GA'd, and sometimes GAs aren't announced until like days or maybe even a week later. So getting those GAs and being able to abide by them and get used to them immediately, I mean, I think it's good for, the public community to be able to know exactly what's going on.
Yeah, and to add to that real quick, I think it's great that you can see how each team is voting, because that's what they were doing was one player, essentially, I guess you could say the captain from each team. I don't know if that's truly what it was, but one player would essentially say Boston votes yes, Boston votes no, and for all 12 teams, and that's how they were doing the voting. So you knew how each team was voting. And I think I think it's good to know which teams feel certain ways about these, and when I think, again, like you said, it kind of peels behind the curtain a little bit. But
I love it. I hope there's more.
Bolts, what about you, buddy?
So, yeah, I mean, I hope that Zuma and the Flank could and would continue to do that. I think it's nice. I think it's courteous to the fans. But I also wrote down that the players and Zuma and the Flank and all them, they don't need to feel obligated to do that, though. No,
I agree.
It's just it would be nice for us to be able to find out and for there to be some transparency there. But yeah, I guess I'm kind of torn on like which way they should go, because it's like it would be nice to me, but I don't think they should feel obligated to have to do that for us. I just think that would be kind of like a thoughtful, nice gesture. I guess, with
I was gonna say, I could see both sides of the coin, although I would prefer if it were more frequent, I guess. But I can see both sides, like you're saying. But to dive into the final question of this episode, going back to the snaking GA, because I know that the game, apparently in this Season 1 update, they've tweaked the mechanic a little bit, so it's not as, broken. But regardless, essentially you're telling these players who have been doing it for 3, 4, however many years now, to stop doing something that's been, wired into their brain. Do you think anyone's going to actually abide by these GAs, that one specifically, in crucial moments? Let's say round 5 or map 5, round 11 S&D 1v1, Celium versus Ghosty. Is Celium gonna GA, or is Ghosty gonna, is Celium gonna snake, or is Ghosty gonna snake, or are we gonna actually have some integrity here, or do you think it goes out the window in that type of situation?
So, I think it's tough to say. But I doubt it, especially snaking. And especially in the crucial moments like we're talking about. My first thought when we were talking about banning or GA and snaking is can you imagine champs? I mean, remember when the stair glitch was GA'd? How many times did we see people stair glitch after that? How many teams?
I mean, Clayster openly admitted to it when Vegas had that insane hardpoint comeback against LA Thieves, and he was like, I was stair glitching like crazy. I want to win. Which, in one hand, you can respect, because it's like he's playing to win, but at the same time, they agreed not to do this. So
right, and that's my point. Is to me, I highly doubt it. So no, I don't think they abide by it. And honestly, I just put this in my notes just to kind of close on my end, is the only way to prevent players from utilizing an in-game mechanic such as snaking is to remove it entirely from the game, which isn't likely to happen.
That's the greatest idea I've ever heard.
I mean, that's the only way. It's that's the only way you're gonna them GAing it, all this stuff. It doesn't matter. Okay, auto attack sprint, whatever, they GA that every year, whatever, all that stuff. Sound EQ, snipers. Anyways, they're GA'd.
Those are a lot easier to enforce.
For our audience that doesn't know, GA is a gentleman's agreement, which means it's not necessarily a rule. You're just both agreeing on you will or will not do a certain thing.
Right. If they were to do it theoretically on land or even online,
no one can.
There's not going to be like a disqualification or anything like that.
Correct.
It's just
like
you're going to get roasted. You're going to get called out on Twitter. But I mean, if I just won 1.5 million and major one champs because I snaked, am I really going to give a shit if people are like, well, he snaked?
No,
I don't know.
Right.
Honestly,
and that's my point. I put that, so this is probably a bad take, but why GA it then if there's a chance somebody is going to do it? There's that chance. It's just a GA. It's a handshake at best. This is not a written contract saying I won't do this, or like you said, there's some kind of disqualification involved. That just isn't how it is. So,
Jaden, give us the final word on this.
If you want to stop it, you're just going to have to remove it from the game.
Yeah. I mean, the snaking GA kind of lasted 20 minutes, I think. There were 2 clips of Clayster snaking on
I was going to say, I remember
like the map after they voted on it, and Clayster snaking his ass off. And there's like multiple clips of it. I'm like, dude, that didn't last long at all. And like, so me personally, if I'm playing in the grand finals and I'm in a 1v1, I'm pulling my inner Cellium out, dude. I'm snaking the crap out of whoever I'm 1v1. I don't care. You can blast me. I'll become Draza, or I'll actually become Scrappy. I'm just gonna shit talk back. Like, I just won 1.5 million. What are you gonna do? You're gonna hurt my feelings?
Dude. I don't know if y'all even...
And I love how we just keep throwing Cellium out there, because we all
know he's the
one that snakes the most.
We're all thinking the same. Who's going to break it? Cellium.
Oh, but look,
1,000%. Did you see his clip at the beginning of the game where he was like, his snaking form? Dude, I don't even think he was able to be seen from the other guy's POV, and he was just lasering people.
Dude, all I can think about in this scenario, with it being a GA and not being like a ban or a change in the game or whatever, is that clip of Formal from like the beginning of Cold War, where he's talking about an interaction with Cellium, where he's like pissed off that he's snaking, and how Cellium, and that's where this like meme came from. Cellium said, "You can do it too, phase up." I mean, I don't know. And then I remember
also didn't he come out today or yesterday or something? And he said,
"I've never been.
No one's ever actually asked me to stop snaking."
So that's a whole other element to it. And I remember Zuma was like treating it like soccer or football, I guess depending on what part of the world you're watching from, where he would see a clip of like you said with Clayster, and he'd be throwing up like a yellow card or a red card.
It was
like,
hilarious.
Do we implement that kind of rule? Like, I don't know.
You only get 2 yellow cards before you're disqualified for the match. Your sub has to come in.
No, for the whole season you're out.
The whole dadgum. All right, I'm never snaking again.
That will enforce it.
Okay, but that's a rule. That's not a GA. That's kind of the point, right?
I think we just solved the problem.
But then they start.
I think we could solve a lot of problems, Drew, but we don't want to go there right now, do we?
Well, and
it gets to the point.
I mean, my final word.
Oh, my bad. It gets to the point where you get 2 yellow cards and you're automatically GA'd out of the league. Everyone agrees that you're just gone. You can't play.
Well, I mean, I think what I want to leave us all off with the snaking thing being a GA is Slasher said it himself. You can't have gentlemen's agreements anymore because there's no more gentlemen to make agreements with in this league. So,
oof, dude, that is some fire.
Those are some fighting words, but I'll let everyone let that marinate. We can't wait to dive in. Next episode is when things are really like we're gonna be talking about the matches and breaking stuff down for real. I can't. I'm amped up, but I just want to say thanks to everyone for tuning into this episode. Obviously, we covered a lot with the season 1 updates, the competitive meta, and all this GA drama. We look forward to seeing y'all next time. This is TGE's Never Chalk podcast, brought to you by Piscaro DB, Volts, and 50 Cal. Thanks for tuning in. Make sure to check out all the socials. Peace out.
Thanks for watching this week's episode of the Never Chalked podcast, where it is Never Chalked, presented to you by TGE. Make sure to subscribe to the channel and turn notifications on so you never miss an episode and keep up with all things Call of Duty and CDL related news. Leave a like on the video if you enjoyed it, and make sure to let us know your thoughts and opinions in the comment section below. Make sure to check out all of our links in the description. Again, thanks for watching, and we will see you next time.